What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. You're listening to InCamp Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Hepler. Today, I have a good buddy on, somebody I feel very comfortable with, and somebody who answers some tough questions surrounding hunting as it is today. We talk about some really important things in hunting and fishing and what it will be, what it could be, what it should be. And our guest today is none other than Chad the Man Sylvester himself. So I know you guys all like to hear from Chad. Everybody likes to hear from Chad. Chad's got a lot of really good insight. So check him out. I'll add the links in the show notes. I'll add his Instagram there too, because he's not really an Instagram user that often, but he will post some really cool stuff in September. You'll get to see all that. So check him out. This is InCamp Podcast. Welcome back. My good buddy, my good buddy, Chad Sylvester. What's up, my friend?
Not too much, man. It's good to see your face. Good to talk to you. I feel like it's like we go through ebbs and flows. Like when we're texting, talking a lot, and then there's like a couple weeks of silence, I guess, radio silence. But it's good to see.
Yeah, you too, buddy. It always has to do with what's going on. But if we're hunting and we're fishing, and we're making content, we're doing all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of talking going on. And when it's time to put it down for a second and, focus on the sports or, what have you, then it's a little bit quiet. But I know September's coming around, so we'll definitely talk in September.
We just fired up some elk conversations in the group chat, I think like within the last 2 weeks. So it's starting to be top of mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably going to do a bird hunt this year. I don't know. Well, I'm either going to go to Iowa or North Dakota or something like that. We'll see what happens, but
cool.
Sometime second week in November, but I really want to get the dog like some cool experience, he's still pretty young, so he's got plenty of time, but I think the next out of state trip for big game, hopefully will be, I'm hoping to go do like a bear wolf combo in Idaho.
Dude.
Yeah. Next May, June, sometime around then. So Rich is gonna go, and he's already he's already like, I reloaded some ammo the other day, 565 bullseye, you know how he is with the with the gun. So but yeah, man, the summer's getting kicked off. I'm ready to do we're going to go bow fishing stingrays again. And you got the open invite. So when you got some free summertime, let us know, because we're going to be going a couple times. But yeah. You're doing Idaho this fall again?
You have another Idaho elk tag for fall. It's a little bit of a different area. It's a different unit. I have not hunted. I've been in the unit. Mm-hmm. I've been in one or two of the units that the tag is good for. So very loosely familiar with the area, but have not hunted it. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that'll be fun anyway.
Yeah.
So you're in this new job. You're getting ready to sell your house. You got all the summer stuff going on. Your kids are in sports. This is why it's always fun to get to catch up, because we always got something to talk about. But I feel like summer hunting, fishing podcasts all end up being the same thing. Like, what are you doing off season? And it's basically to like pass the time. But I listened to a podcast now it's probably like 3 weeks ago. I think I asked you to come on the podcast because I listened to this other podcast and I was like, I could talk about some of that stuff from a different angle. And I'm trying to think of who would be good to talk about it with. And I was like, Chad's always my good conversationalist when it comes to this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of cliches in hunting, and that's not a real big hook, right? Like, talk about this stuff. But just to kind of kick it off, they were talking about, corruption and game commission and that kind of stuff or whatever. And then how anti-hunters view like the hunting crowd and that kind of thing. And he went through the guy went through the thing of saying, a deer's life through its natural life and nature is so hard on it, and my ethical shot is way better. That kind of thing. Like, the old age is going to do way more to that animal. And I thought about it and I was like, do hunters really care about that? or is that just a really good thing that they get to say to people who don't like hunting? Because I've even said it. I've made the mistake of being like, well, this, and it's not that I really like to kill, and I like to chase and all that stuff, but that that animal will die a way more horrible death if I don't kill it. I don't think people that don't hunt they don't think they care about that.
Yeah, there's a couple things to unpack there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you're 1,000% right in your perspective of the normal guy, normal hunter, or even a TV celebrity, an influencer, like whoever you are as a hunter. I think very few people have honest conviction in that statement that you said, like they're worried about an ethical shot.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from people regurgitate that because of this. I don't want to call it a PR campaign, but there's this positioning within the industry to justify what we do because it's constantly under attack and it's constantly getting eroded.
Yeah.
And from an ODNR perspective, and even like, QDMA, now NDA, everyone is around like the 3 R's and the recruitment, retainment. Like, how do we not lose what we already have?
Mm-hmm.
How do we gain a little bit of traction? And everybody is focused. The positioning statement, the messaging here is, let's not, like, antis are there. The hunters are 10% of the population, but we have this giant gap of non-hunters who aren't necessarily anti-hunters. They're just kind of like floating around in the middle.
Yeah.
And we need to do everything that we can in how we communicate and what we do to preserve our influence on that, on that middle group. So I think that's what that's about. I think at the root of it, do people really care on how that animal dies? Probably not. No.
And I always I thought about it and I'm like, people that don't hunt don't care because they can't see it.
Yeah.
It's the same, like, I don't know how to really compare it to anything else, but it's like, to them, it's like, well, maybe that's just the natural process, and then that's okay because I don't have to live with the guilt of killing an animal or whatever. And I don't live with any guilt from killing an animal because I do everything, to me, I know what I'm doing, and I can't really say that I care that that animal would have died like a horrible death. That would be kind of like, I wouldn't have, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I wouldn't have thought of it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I would say this, we have like this evolutionary biology, like in our DNA, right?
Yeah.
My son's 10 years old and this was his first season turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wants to go out and kill things.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's a squirrel, if it's a groundhog. He wanted to shoot turkey vultures one day, crows. Like, it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
Because he has this association with that evolutionary biology in his DNA that, like, he just wants to go out and be a boy and kill stuff. Not that he wants to, like, inflict mortality. Like, that's not, I don't think that's what it's about, but there's something connected in his DNA as a human where he has a firearm or a weapon in his hand and he wants to go kill something. And then he's asking all these questions like, if I kill a turkey vulture, can I eat it? If I shoot a groundhog, can I eat it? If I shoot a crow, can I eat it? So he's asking all these questions, but I think that the root of that question, it stems into like how we've evolved over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, like it's kind of strange because you want to have something to say to somebody as to why you hunt. And the top of my reasons for why I hunt isn't because, well, I'd rather give the animal a better death than the way it was going to die naturally. Like I said, it's not that I don't care that the animal might die a horrible death. I care about that kind of stuff, but like, that wasn't at the forefront of why I want to hunt. You know what I mean? Right. And, the meat thing and eating is, in the top 5 things, but it's probably not the very top thing because I have to be excited about something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the kind of things that I think about is like, if we're looking at people that aren't in the anti-hunting group, they're just, agonists or whatever you want to call it. They don't really care. I want to be able to have a better conversation with a person like that. And for me, like, They see most of those people that I work with, they see all the stuff that I'm doing and they're like, man, I don't do any of that, but it looks so fun. All that stuff, but there's the CEO at the hospital. He's always like, he'll come up and say, oh, I saw that you were doing this. And we were talking about box turtles during turkey season. He was messaging me about, I posted a picture of box turtle and he's like, tell me about this. It's very fascinating to me. And he's like, man, all this stuff you're doing is really cool. And I get to have that conversation with somebody that doesn't get to spend a lot of time outside. And to him, that's like, it's almost living vicariously. And I don't ever have to be like, hey, Chuck, this animal, I care about it because of this reason. Like, he thinks it's really cool, and there's a lot of other people that I get to talk to that are like that. Like, working in a hospital, I don't work with a lot of people that hunt and fish. And I have all these residents that are from different countries. And they're like, I was listening to your podcast. And I'm like, you are probably the last person I ever thought would want to listen to a hunting and fishing podcast. And he's like, can you tell me about it? Like, and I think it's just kind of an escape for them.
Sure.
Because they're from different places around the world that have little to no concept, and they come to this country and they see that kind of stuff, and it's very foreign to them, but it's very fascinating, and I think that's something that we could probably grip onto, is like you get to be changed by the things that we do. And it's not like, should we care about that animal dying a horrible death? Yeah, probably, if there's something in a conservation organization that we can do to fix that. But like, I can't keep a pack of coyotes from eating a deer, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah. But don't you think that conversation is usually provoked with some kind of agnostic question of like,
yeah, it's usually by somebody who's on the edge of like, which way do I go? And those people are really important to be careful with. Those are the kind of people that, like, I think that you should be able to take a grip and grin picture. But if you're going to take a grip and grin picture, make it tasteful. Don't, and well, I'm going to post it because I believe in that. Like, who'd you post it for? You know what I mean? Like, you post it to get attention and views and that kind of thing. Like, remember those, a couple years ago, that video went viral of those kids kicking the shit out of that deer?
Oh,
you remember that?
I think they got a couple charges put
They
on
did.
that.
And rightfully so. And some hunters were like, oh, who cares? Like, that animal would have died but terribly anyway. Like, well, no, like, I want people that know that I hunt and fish to know that I also respect it, and there is sometimes, like, for example, in the fishing side of things, there is sometimes where I think about what might happen to that animal. Like, right now they are, I live at a lake and they're draining one of the lakes because they need to fix the dam. And I don't know how long the whole project is going to be. We don't need to talk about that. But I think, from what I've gathered from all the gossip and all the meetings and everything and the vagueness of everything, that they will drain the lake and they'll electrofish it and move as many fish as they can there's a smaller lake. They'll put as many fish as they can in there. It's like 30 acres, so it won't be that many fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the fish, because they may or may not carry parasites, will all die. I'm keeping a lot of fish because they're going to be wasted,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I don't really want to see that. I mean, that kind of sucks. I hope there's something different to do, but there might not be. So there are times where I think about that, and what I can do to remedy that. Right now, it's just to keep the fish for myself and give them to people. But I think there's a lot of these different cliches in hunting where I think that like, sometimes those kind of things don't resonate with people. And even in the hunting side of things, like I said, I don't really think about an animal dying of starvation or getting hit by a car or anything like that. But I do focus a lot on the ethical shot that I make, because I do care about that. And I want other hunters to care that if you don't care that you make an ethical shot or not, what you should care about is the people that do care about that. because they're the ones, if people that hunt are 10% of the population, that's a lot of people that could make it not very good for you,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate here and
Yeah.
ask the question, what's the underlying reason that you care about the ethical shot? Is it truly what happens after impact? Like time duration of it takes the animal to expire, or is it a lost opportunity for the amount of input or work or an effort that you put in to obtain the opportunity?
Yeah.
Or is it a combination of those things? Because like me personally, I'll give you my answer on this.
Yeah.
Truly, it's the amount of input and work that goes into obtaining the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and then knowing that that could be like the fleeting opportunity. Like, hey, I just screwed that up. I wounded an animal. Yes, I feel terrible about that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking somewhat selfishly of, dude, I might not get another opportunity. Like if I'm on a Western trip, I'll just put this into perspective. Let me think. The last 3 years, I've hit 2 bulls, and neither one of them died.
Mm-hmm.
So non-fatal wound. And I have documentation on that. But see that, like, I think the bigger letdown for me was the amount of work it took to get the shot. And then also knowing like, dude, I got 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days left in this trip. Like, what's the chances of me getting another opportunity? So for me,
Right.
like that comes from a almost a selfish perspective.
Yeah. I think after you make a shot that wasn't what you wanted it to be, I think you think about that for sure. I know I do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I hit that big buck a couple of years ago and I was like kicking myself I still do, and it's like, man, like right now I could have such a good story. And if I hadn't done this, and it's like all that shit on yourself stuff,
Yeah.
I should have done this, I should have done that. And yeah, that part plays into it. But initially when I'm practicing or when I'm trying to make myself better in every asset, or like if I'm in the gym working out, or if I'm shooting my bow in the backyard, or if I'm taking a hook set that I know is like, should make that a little better. There's all those things that, yeah, I don't want to waste my time, but I've practiced all to get there. And yeah, ultimately that's an aftermath kind of thing for me. Like, man, I did all this work and I messed it up. But the before part is because I want to be successful. It's because I want to make an ethical shot. Like I do care. Like if I make a shot on a deer with my bow that's subpar and it's 85 degrees out, and now I got to go find that deer, and it's probably not going to be good by the time I'm going to get to it. Like I want, I I like the rack and all that stuff, but like ultimately I want to eat the deer. And if I can't eat it, that messes things up real bad for me,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that kind of stuff because the other thing that hunters will say is, well, hunting is conservation. And most people don't really understand that either. You know what I mean? Well, what do you mean it's conservation? Like if you look at the mission statements for conservation organizations, or you understand the Pittman-Robertson Act and things like that, but people don't know that. Like if I go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a kayak paddle or ammunition or whatever, like a field and stream tent, like that stuff's all going back into that, but people don't know that. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm going camping,
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's one thing too, that hunters, like they don't really know what that means. And I think that's something that we could explain better too. Like whether it is talking about where the finances go, or telling them what your local chapter for the backcountry hunters and anglers are doing, or your Pheasants Forever, your National Deer Alliance, all those different things. People haven't heard of that stuff,
No, you're right. And the underlying kind of root issue that I'm starting to think about as this conversation continues is just the depth of conversations that most hunters are able to have aren't deep enough to even get into economic impact of what the conservation model is, and like the specific pieces of legislation and how it impacts local communities and local businesses. And so that's why like these types of podcasts, yourself and all podcasts, really, if it gives you a medium or a forum to have these kind of longer expanded conversations where people can gain some information, because the reality of it is like everybody's busy. No one's going to sit down and go through these corporate mission statements and all the money and look at conservation dollars spent in a specific state on a specific agenda. It's just like we don't do it. Like I don't do it.
Yeah. And most of the stuff that I've consumed is because of a podcast, and maybe it's, I looked it up afterwards or whatever, but think about when we almost lost all that with all the stuff with Senator Mike Lee and public land sales and all that. Think about that. And then think about how many people that care, like you and me, could have taken 5 minutes to make a phone call or whatever. And, I called some senators, but I did a lot of the, sent a prefabbed email from some conservation organization, which is probably the easiest route. But how many people didn't do that? Because it was kind of a pain. It's kind of a pain. Like it takes away a second of your focus and like whatever you're happening to do for the day, but it doesn't really take that much time to help defend what we love. And I think that's something definitely that I hope that this podcast kind of puts out there is like, if you want it to stick around, like if you only care about what you're doing, if you don't care about the future of hunting, you still should kind of care about if you want to hunt, because it's going to get a lot harder pretty quick if there's not a lot of people to defend what we want to do.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? I think when we have these hot button or hot topic conversations, everyone gets inspired and motivated for like a very short duration.
Right.
Like, the Mike Lee, the Utah example, I think is a good example of that, I guess. But the issue that we run into as an industry and as a community is that those other folks on the other side don't let up. It's the next piece of legislation. It's the next thing on their agenda. And that goes on month after month, year after year, term after term. And quite frankly, like, yes, people were engaged last year and they sent emails and they were on the phone calling their representatives and senators, but they're not going to do that every month.
Right. Yeah.
We just get wore out.
Yeah. It's like if you got Netflix, you set that stuff to auto pay. You know what I mean? You're not like there's not like an auto voicemail for you to call your senator. You got to put the legwork in to do it,
Yeah.
I was talking, I actually, a podcast dropped today that I did with a buddy of mine. And this guy was, he managed Woody's archery shop. They had a booth at the Sportsman Show quite a few years, but the owner died and Tom wasn't there anymore. But Tom kind of relit the fire for me for archery. That was kind of right around the time you and I met, right? Like I was shooting a carbon icon. Well, Tom was the one who kind of set me up with that bow and was like, we talked so much, and I'd be in that archery shop like once or twice a week hanging out with Tom and talking about fishing and hunting. Tom is very involved in the organizations that he's with. Like there's a sportsman's club, and he does, puts together archery shoots and does a lot of stuff for youth there. And he has worked with 2 schools to bring like the national archery program for schools in schools. He's set up two archery programs for kids, and he does stuff with Trout Unlimited. And he had some really good stuff to say about these conservation organizations, but it was beyond like the $35, like if you care about this stuff, and if you want it to be better for your kids, if you want it to be better for you now, then you actually have to go and like participate in some of the stuff. And it's kind of a hard, it could be a commitment. It could be a real hard thing to do. Cause we all are busy, but that might be something for you and your kid to get involved in together, or whatever it happens to be, I don't know.
I would agree with that approach. I think the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but the longest lasting impact that you can have
Mm-hmm.
with some of these issues starts at kind of the local and root level, like within your household. I mean, like
Yeah.
down to that level, and like
Yeah.
your household, your immediate family, your community, and then like starting to branch out. And like I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing that happen kind of within my family dynamics. Like my in-laws, their side of the family, they're not hunters. They're not anti by any means.
Yeah.
Like, but they are non-hunters. So my son has I have four little nephews. He has
Mm-hmm.
four little cousins that,
Mm-hmm.
has a great dad, a great leader, but he's not a hunter. He's not a hunter, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I expose him to these things, and you can see them light up and ask questions, and like now their friends are asking them questions. Like, and it's something as simple as like, I cut a turkey leg off, man. And
Yeah.
I wired it up, and I told him it was a velociraptor leg, and I was out hunting dinosaurs, and like
Yeah.
he looked at me like, I was an alien.
Yeah. 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 And what about this? That, we often say, because, and I'm guilty of this too. I will probably say that I care more about deer or more about wildlife than the people who aren't out there doing it or aren't putting. This is like, I can say my hunting. Oh, our dollars go to the public land because I buy a hunting license. Oh, that's kind of in the budget. You know what I mean? Like, they know they're going to sell this many hunting licenses and that's what it goes to. But do I really care more about wildlife than somebody who likes to go bird watching and doesn't like hunting, or is the agonist or whatever? I don't think that's true either. You know, I think we need to be careful and give the people some credit that do have conservation things outside of hunting and fishing.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a logical approach. I don't think that just by hunting that you care more about wildlife or conservation than
Yeah.
someone in the general population or the general populace. Like I would never say that that's true.
Yeah.
I think in some cases, in some cases, as a hunter, your dollars may have a broader impact on the
Hmm.
conservation model than a non-hunter. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, again, I think that just like blanket statements that we use towards the general populace, like we need to have in-depth conversations that are honest and they're not pre-drafted or preconceived um, positioning statements and messaging,
Yeah.
because that's what we heard from the NDA, or that's what we heard from the ODNR, or that's what we heard from this organization. Like, who are you as an individual?
Hmm.
What is important to you, and how can you influence others? Like, I think that's what we should be thinking about.
Yeah, and for me, the big message is in having a podcast like this is like, this episode of InCamp Podcast is brought to you by Bird Dog Custom Woodwork. Premium materials made from wood with a whole lot of care and patience from my buddy Steve Notebart and his business partner. Check them out on Instagram at Bird Dog Custom Woodwork. They make some awesome things for your home that will turn into heirlooms one day. And they're doing some pretty cool stuff in the hunting space as far as making tail fan plaques, but anything you can really think of: cutting boards, tables, cabinets, all the things. Check them out. Thanks a lot. Just to make people think about what you're going to say, because you could just repeat verbatim what I'm saying, but it might not. People kind of see through that stuff. If I were to tell somebody that I work with, like, oh, the poor animals die a cruel death if I don't kill them, like, they'll be like, that's not why you go. That's not why you go. You're lying, And or they could be like, oh, well, you go because you're cheap. Well, I'll tell you what's not cheap: venison.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. You could maybe over time, like if you own the same bow for like 18 years and the same the same Walmart camo or whatever, like you could make it inexpensive, but it's not like,
No.
I think there is something to there's something cool about putting uh meat on the table that you worked really hard for. I think that's pretty cool. And you've been witness to it makes some pretty darn good food.
No doubt. Yeah. And there's layers to that, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
clean fuel, clean energy, um, the whole organic movement, like knowing where your food came from, field to
Yeah.
fork or field to table, whatever you want to call that
Yeah.
movement. Yeah, there's for sure layers there, but the cost thing, yeah, I'm with you, dude. Like,
It's not a thing.
it's
It's
not,
not a thing. Uh, we're having barbacoa tacos tonight, and I know that's a Chad favorite. So
dude. That is one of my faves.
it's so good. Um, I guess, when we're kind of going through this, we're talking about cliches, and we're talking about cliches from an anti-hunting perspective. The last time I had you on a podcast, I asked you what you thought actually makes a bow hunter. We have like the social media wave is like, I'm a bow hunter. I don't do anything else, and I only hunt deer. I'm like, is that really a bow hunter? And I've asked this a couple people, and I think your answer was like, well, it's the way you prefer to do things. Like, you're a bow hunter because you prefer to bow hunt, and other types of hunting aren't interesting to you, or whatever. Now, you are a bow hunter because you like to bow hunt. Bow hunting is your preferred method. So I am probably not a bow hunter. I love to bow hunt primarily, but I love to do everything I can. But now you work in the firearms industry. So does that change things for you?
No,
No?
no, it does not change anything for me on my personal uh, choice of weapon or method of take. The one thing that is starting to influence me some
Mm-hmm.
is mentoring my son as a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He has a bow, but knowing that he's probably not capable as a bow hunter to hunt whitetails, right? Um, I think about, okay, well, how can I expose him to other opportunities? And like the logical choice is firearms, right?
Yeah.
So now, from a resource perspective of managing time, it's like, that's going to cut into my bow hunting a little bit,
Uh-huh.
right? So I mean, it's been a long time since I've hunted deer with a firearm, but like that, I'm going to have to make that shift to give him the opportunity to be exposed to hunting in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Now, does that make me not a bow hunter? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think that I'm still a bow hunter.
Yeah.
Um, but it's an interesting question because I don't think I mean, on paper, the weapon or method of take is going to define you, right? But I think it's much deeper than that. It's about um, how you chase the opportunity, how you approach the seasons, how intimate you want to be with everything.
Yeah. I always kind of look at it from like a Native American perspective. If a Native American heard that, like, I will only hunt with a bow and I'm only hunting deer, they'd be like,
You're crazy.
what's wrong with you? Like, what's
Yeah,
wrong with the buffalo? What's wrong with what's wrong with the groundhog, whatever. And they probably, for them, they would want to hunt with whatever was probably most efficient, is what my guess would be. You know, like they did it to survive. And now I know they appreciated things like large racks or whatever because it's in their paintings, and they kept the racks and that kind of thing. So it wasn't not important to them for whatever reason it is now. But I think there is something to like, I think, I think it is important to look at something else too. Like, um, you like, you like to elk hunt, and you like the experience of elk hunting. And I think that, uh, if you think that you're just a bow hunter that likes to hunt whitetails, you should probably try one or two other things, just to see how much you can get your feet wet, being happy, having an experience. Because that's kind of how you were talking about the evolution of things. One day your son will care about the evolution of things. Because I remember when I was like, I go hunting so I can kill a deer, and now I still go hunting so I can kill a deer, but there's a lot more involved in it than that, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's a lot of deep stuff. That's probably good for the deep stuff. Uh, what are you prepping for this summer? Are you shooting yet?
Actually, I just traditionally, I usually don't start shooting a whole lot until turkey season's over. So
Yeah.
we just ended in Ohio a week or so ago. So yeah, I just started shooting my bow. Took took the bow out. What is today? Today's Tuesday? Sunday. I shot
Nice.
on and off all day on
Yeah.
Sunday. So
Yeah.
I would work on a project for an hour, go shoot, 6 arrows,
Yeah.
go back to work, go back out and shoot 6. So
how'd
yeah.
that turkey season go for you? You took your son out quite a bit, huh?
Oh my gosh. It was fun, man. It was a great season. It was just, it's not how I drew it up. So, we went out, he was in spring football. So
Yeah.
Saturdays were kind of off the table for us. So
Yeah.
we went out Sunday of youth season, didn't hear a bird gobble at all.
Mhm.
And then the following Saturday, our season came in. He had football, so we didn't hunt on Saturday. He did not wake up. It's a long story. Anyways, the one day that he slept in, I called 4 longbeards in and had one killed before 7 o'clock, like, almost off the roost. And he had a couple really close opportunities. I mean, we had a bird in his face at 35 yards, just gobbling his head off. And it was just down over a little dip and he couldn't get a shot, But ultimately, I think he learned a pretty important lesson of, like, when you're crawling around in the woods and you're wearing the same clothes and gloves, like, day after day after day, when you got to take a leak, you should take your gloves off because you don't know what you get into over the past 10 days. So his season was cut a couple days short.
No.
He has pretty adverse reactions like poison ivy and poison oak and stuff. So you can imagine where that's going, but he was covered in poison ivy, man.
Oh no, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
I took my daughter out and she missed a bird on the opening of the youth. I called a bird in like 5 minutes. He flew right off the roost and came in, and for me, if it was me, I would have just been able to pull up but
yeah,
it's so crazy what you learn yourself on, like, how do I get my kid to, like, because you're so worried about them enjoying it,
Yeah.
I brought all kinds of sour gummies and Pop-Tarts and all kinds of stuff that I would never put in my pack if it was just me, like there'd be a bottle of water and a protein bar, or something like that. And I'm like pulling out Sour Patch Kids at 9 a.m., but I called this turkey in at it was like 5 after 6. And I like reached down in the bag to get gloves, or I don't remember. I reached down in my backpack and it literally was a second. And I look up, there's a turkey like 5 yards away from the blind. And I'm like, holy crap. And I'm thinking in my head, like, if it was me, I would have expected it. You know what I mean? But I'm like hunting with my kid, and it's almost like you don't, like, I'm just going hunting. Like, we're going to have fun and it's okay. We won't see anything, but it's fine. And it's one of those things where it's like, there's turkeys here. You're like, no crap. You just heard that thing gobbling for half an hour, and she had a little 410 and we got her lined up, and I'm like, okay, you could shoot when you want. She's like, did you take the safe off? Yeah, I took the safe off. Go ahead. Boom. And he just like does one of these, runs out to 20 yards, and I had her shoot again. And we missed that time too, but I was like, oh, but now she's hooked. She's like, Dad, this, she went to bed and she's like, Dad, it felt so good to pull that trigger on that turkey. We almost got to have turkey nuggets, Dad. And I'm like, you actually had fun. Like, I found a way for you to have fun, And we went a couple times after that. She was not a fan of the 4 o'clock wake up call, 3:30, 4 o'clock wake up calls, but she understands it. She just I just don't know how many times in one season I can do that, Dad. So maybe we'll wait till next year to go. But she went, 3 times with me, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah. That was one. So I had a couple hard, fast rules for my son. One was, I'm not waking you up at 4 o'clock or 4:30.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're coming downstairs, you're getting yourself up, you're prepping your own clothes, making sure you have the stuff ready to go in the morning.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, we're not going. So that was one rule. And then I kind of look back and this probably was a mistake, but we bounce around so many different properties, private and public. I told him, like, dude, we're not like, this is run and gun. We're not like, I'm not posting you up in a blind. I'm a turkey butcher. Yeah. Butcherer. Like, I'm not a turkey, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a purist turkey hunter. Yeah. That's not no. Like whatever I can use, terrain, ditches, I don't have to call him in, like whatever. I'm just out there to kill turkey, right? So that was the approach that we took. And he had a ball because I think at that young an age, like unless your kid is really, I don't want to say, what do I want to say here? Unique with patience,
Yeah.
which my kid doesn't have. Like
Yeah.
to sit in one spot, maybe your daughter has a little more patience than.
She can be. Yeah.
Yeah. But he would go crazy if he had to sit in the blind.
Yeah. She kind of likes kind of like watching the world pass by, you know, like she liked watching the sunrise, and she like kind of like that. I mean, you know, like the Turkey Woods is like the best place for a nap ever. And she liked that relaxing feeling of just hanging out and like, you know, and dude, she was learning about World War II at the time. And I don't know, she is just absolutely fascinated. And she just told me about she was talking about concentration camps and all these different battles, like by name and like all this stuff. I'm like, wow, like, and I learned a lot about my kid just sitting there with her
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. I I had a podcast with Travis Frank. He's the host of Flush TV and the Flush podcast, and his boys are like at the age where they're hunting pretty often, and he just kind of said, you know, you're always worried about your kid having a good time, so like, oh, there's kind of like the battle of making it easy for them or not making it easy. And he just said, like, it's not that you should make it overly challenging to the point where it's like I could be doing something better with my time, but it shouldn't be easy. Like it should be a little difficult because it actually, like I said, it actually makes you want it more. And I was kind of, my daughter missed that turkey. And for me, I'm like, oh, my heart is breaking. Like
Right.
she almost got her first turkey. But then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you know, maybe that's a good thing because now she wants to go back and kill the turkey because she didn't do it the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now she's like, because she was kind of like, yeah, this is fun. And then she missed that turkey and she's like, you know, like, she's like, oh, I wasn't nervous. And I'm like,
yeah.
She like, we were both shit ourselves, you know, she's like, and I'm there like, I'm shaking and I'm like, huh, this is wild, you know? And it was like it was probably like a 15-pound Jake, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, that was insane. And she's like, Dad, that was so cool. Like, you know, and in the moment, like it went from being like, I did make the hunt easy. Like I took her to my buddy's farm and we walked, you know, 200 yards to a blind that I set up the day before, and I had snacks and all that kind of stuff. And it was a good introductory hunt, but she did do some hard things, right? She woke up at 4 a.m. and she's 11 years old, and she probably stayed up, talking to her friend. It was weekends. She probably was on that iPad thing, talking to her friends from school or whatever, you know, and, like, that part's not easy. And then she missed. So now the shot isn't easy either. And she realizes there's some investment in learning this stuff, you know? So I think that's all kind of important. And what he said is kind of true. Like hunting and fishing isn't really meant to be easy. It's not meant for instant gratification. It's meant for long-term investment and making yourself feel productive and good about what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I don't know where that threshold really is. But I think that you're right. I think that there's something that comes with effort put into something without a reward that makes you want to try again. And I can't put my finger on it, but you know, not every hunt. I took my son out probably, I would say 10. We probably went on 10 hunts.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them, you know, some of them were 4 a.m. wake up calls where we walked like a 4-mile loop on public trying to strike birds up. And then other hunts were, hey, it's 7:00. You slept in. Let's grab hot chocolate and coffee and we're going to go drive fields and try to, you know, see birds. Yeah. And I think that he had just as much enjoyment coming from kind of both experiences. So I also think it's important to show them there's more than one way to do things, whether it's hunting, school, learning, whatever, sports, and let them gravitate to what they're intrigued or how they want to do it. Let them
Yeah.
have their own personality in what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I agree. We're getting to the point too now where my daughter is like your kids. She wants to play more sports. Like last year she played volleyball and she wants to play more sports. She's going to do basketball and soccer, I think, because that's going to be
Mhm.
what's available to her. And I don't want to miss. I know I'm probably going to miss some games, and she's already been like, before I could even like think, oh, I got to rearrange things. She's like, Dad, I know you're going to not be at every game. It's okay. Like I want you at most of them, but if you have like a trip or something, that's okay. And I think there is some, I don't know what kind of, you kind of have to do what you feel like you need to do. Like if you need to do it for yourself to be at every single game, that's fine. Um, but my kid also understands that it's important to me because hunting and fishing is important to her too. You know, she's always seen me do it, and it's if she has a conversation, dude. We got home from that turkey hunt, and she got on that iPad with her friends, and I was like, Lizzie's like, "Did she have a good time?" And I'm like, "I think so. Like, it was all right, you know, like." Dude, she got on that thing. She's like, "You should have seen the turkey. I didn't think it was real. It came in front of the blind. It was like doing all this stuff." And she's telling all her friends, and all her friends are like, "Did you shoot at it?" And she's like, "Yeah, I shot at it myself," you know, and like, and she's
Yeah.
just like telling them all this. And I'm like, wow, to her little mind, that story is like not necessarily inflated because it was all true, you know,
Mhm.
like, but the way it was experienced through her is like, wow, that matters to her, you know. And then she'll go to school and she'll be like, "Well, my dad hunts and he shot one of those before or whatever." And it's not like it's something for her to be proud of, you know.
Absolutely.
So, so I think that's important too to not really like kind of let yourself go with that kind of stuff. But it is like I could go other places out of state, but I'm probably going to limit myself to how many trips I'm going to take or how long I'm going to be uh, gone because of that. And that's one thing that I think has kind of it's not gotten out of hand. I think you need to go experience other states and have a good time, but you don't have to do it to fit in and be in part of the cool hunting crowd. You know what I mean? Like I like hunting in my home state, and I know that always is. Whenever I tell you, Jake and Cameron, that you guys are like, "Yeah, Pennsylvania, it's great," you know. But I'm like, I like hunting at home because I get to know it pretty intimately, and I do have an opportunity to kill a lot of stuff if I really put the effort into it. And I do get to kill a lot of stuff. You know, I killed 4 deer last year with my bow or a handful. I killed like 2 with my bow and 2 with my gun. And like I killed like 30 pheasants and all kinds of stuff, you know. And that's I think that's kind of something that people miss is like I have to go out of state because you know, that's what everybody's doing and everybody's got a YouTube channel to show it off and it's not going to be cool if I only have does on the Instagram or whatever, but nobody really cares. Um, I think it's important for you to, and especially when you're in this kind of season of life, like if you're a dad and you want to be able to be part of your kid's life, like I want my daughter to be proud of me being a hunter, but it's going to be really hard for her to do that if I also don't invest time in her from the things that she likes. Not just taking her hunting, like she likes to do that. I took her fishing yesterday. She likes to go fishing. She thinks it's really cool that I spent time with her doing something that I love, but she also wants me to pour into her a little bit. So there's that kind of give and take. Like she's going to like, I am going to be okay to go out and do some things here and there. But I think it's okay to be like, I'm not part of the cool crowd that's going on 5 out of state deer hunts this year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's, you're right. Like he comes with ebbs and flows and like not everyone is a great dad, but in my like opinion, like dad is number one. So you're the dad first and then maybe a hunter second. And like, how does
Yeah.
that, or how do those two things, roles and responsibilities kind of blend in? And it's funny that, I'm not a fisherman, Aaron, like
Yeah.
just not, don't enjoy it. Don't know anything about it. Like I know a little bit about it, right? But like to me, growing up, fishing was like buying a pack of smokes or like backwoods cigars and stealing a 6-pack of beer out of the fridge, and we were going cat. Like in high
Yeah.
school, like that's fishing to me, right? Like that's how we grew up fishing. So it was more about like a social experience. But my son, like, dude, he is ate up with fishing. Like he's out
Uh-huh.
running minnow traps, catching his own bait, watching YouTube videos on like depth of water to fish in and different water temperatures and this and that. And I'm like, he's like, Dad, let's go fishing. And I'm just like, all right, pack the truck up, let's go. Because like,
Sweet.
it's not about me, you know what I mean? It's about, like you said, pouring into them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different with hunting. Like, just expose them to as much opportunities and different experiences as you
Hmm.
can, and see what they gravitate towards, and then be the facilitator for them to chase their interests and their dreams.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way we look at it.
Well, and it gets hard. This goes into the conversation. It gets hard because sometimes we've talked about this. There's so much noise with like, they like to play Roblox or Fortnite or whatever it is, and there's all this like iPads and electronics and squishies and all the popular freaking toys that are out, whatever it is that your kid is doing. I can't not be like, I'm not interested in Neatos really, but my kid
Yeah.
she likes them Neatos. And I, it's not that I pretend like, oh, I kind of make fun of her for her funny interests, but like, are we any different as adults? Like, um, yeah, well, like we've talked about the technology thing. There's cell cams and being interested in that, and it's kind of trendy to have lots of pictures of cell cams. And and do I like cell cams? Yes, I do. I worked with you for like 3-4 years, and do I? There's all the different things. Like there's forward facing sonar and e-bikes and thermals and thermal sights and all these different cool things that aren't going to go anywhere. But I always when it like, you know, they they play that Roblox game or whatever, and I'm like, you're not gonna like that forever. It's okay that you are playing with your friends, but you're not gonna like that forever. So keep in mind the investment of time that you're putting into something, um, and be responsible with it. And that's the same topic when you get to be an adult and you're like, well, this is not a Nito. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's just a different version.
Don't let my wife hear that statement.
I know. I I know. I got plenty of things laying around here that I'm like, ooh.
No, you're right though. It's just it's just a nuance of life. And but like the reality of it is they need some of that,
Yeah.
right? Like there's like they're going through a phase of life where they're trying to have social acceptance and figure out that human hierarchy,
Yeah.
the org chart. Like they're trying to fit into the org chart of like, you know, their
Hmm.
social circle. And the reality of it is if you just are like rule with an iron fist and like zero electronics, zero this, zero that, like all you're doing is essentially giving them a harder life to live inside of their social network. Like it come everything in
Yeah.
moderation, man.
Yeah. Well, you are a bull rider, so when you get that bull in that pen and it's all worked up, it's coming out way harder than you know what I mean? Like that's kind of gonna be what it's gonna be. Your kid is like, oh, let's go. Dad
Yeah.
and mom aren't there to, you know,
Yeah.
and it's kind of bringing it back full circle to hunting and fishing. I don't know how many podcasts I've had on here where it's people that are our age and they're talking about when I was a kid, I grew up hunting and fishing, and then I got out of it until college. And there are people that I have, and then they were ate up by it. But how many people have I not had a conversation with that were into hunting and fishing, and their parent or their mentor, um, just it's not the investment of time, but maybe they didn't actually care if they loved it long term or cared to give them the experience. Maybe they cared about only successful results or whatever it happened to be. And the kid lost interest and then they didn't get back to it when they got done college. And then those are people that are kind of out of I don't know how many people I talk to that are like, oh yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid, but I don't know, it's not really my thing anymore. And that's kind of like, ooh, missed the boat on that one.
Yeah. I would arguably say there's probably more people that don't come back than do come back.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking of like the small little rural town that I grew up in, graduating class of like 75 kids, say
Yep.
half of those were guys. Like
Yep.
we all hunted and fished growing up as kids.
Yep.
I can't say that there's more than two or three, including myself, out of the
Yeah.
40 or 35 that, grew up doing it. So
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about with the mentor thing is like, you do, when you're talking about, make sure you're pouring into your kid other than like, we have to go hunting and fishing. And like you said, you can't really rule with an iron fist all the time. Like, uh, if your kid is pretty young and they don't have a patience thing, you might have to bring their iPad into the blind. Ooh,
Yeah.
I hate that, but yeah, you might have to, you know?
Yeah.
And if eventually something's going to happen that's going to click for them and they're going to end up loving it, you know? And whether or not that's like a wild experience, we took my buddy's kid fishing like a week or two ago. He just turned 4. We got to the lake at 7:45 in the morning and we got off the water at 1. And I think we ended up catching something, probably all in all, like there were 4 of us fishing. We probably caught 60 or 70 fish, like with the ones that we let go and stuff too. That kid now has like a dopamine drip of like, I know what it's like to catch a lot of fish, you know? So for him, it might be different. Like it might be easy for him. That's going to stay with him for a long time because that was pretty impactful, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we also got to make fun of his dad for not being a very good fisherman, but, but you know, like your kid might not be the kid that goes out and catches, you know, 30 bluegills or shoots a big buck on his first time out. So you have to think about, I think before you even take them, you have to think about what you can do to make it impactful, even though that adrenaline rush or that exciting moment might not happen for a while for them. And that's where I'm saying, like, it shouldn't be easy all the time. And you shouldn't try to make it easy on purpose, because when it gets hard, if it's already been easy, they might not like it that much.
Yep. Totally agree, man.
But I don't know. I sometimes I feel like I'm being negative when I have these podcasts. But the intent is I want people to really think about these conversations that we have, so they can have, when I have a conversation about this stuff with other people that don't hunt or fish or want to spend more time outdoors or want to do something in this sense, I want them, like, when I have the conversation, it's always very positive, and I try to think about, I might even think about an individual person that's been talking to me about this stuff for a long time and individualize it to that person. How can I make the idea of hunting and fishing and keeping wild things wild very positive for a person who might see it in a negative way or in like an agonist way or whatever it happens to be? So that's why I want to have conversations like this, even though sometimes they can be a little cliche, but I think it's super important to think about.
Yeah, I don't think the tone is negative at all. I think it's just a normal conversation that we don't have enough, right?
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is everybody, like, the monetization within the culture or the industry is what drives everything. It's the economic impact, right?
Yeah.
And like that starts with big antlers, most opportunity, and real estate, all the way down to how many clicks or downloads a specific piece of media gets. Like,
Yeah.
and the big trophy is usually what drives all the attention. And when you have attention, that's how you monetize.
Yeah.
But like the fact of the matter is, these are the conversations that we need to have as individuals at scale with as many people as we can, and be honest with ourselves when we answer like the hard questions, and not just give like we've been talking, not just regurgitate the mission statement or the PR campaign or the specific, you know, positioning message that we get fed all the time. Like,
Yeah.
we're going through some of that stuff right now in Ohio with the ODNR around. There's a lot of hot topics going on right now in Ohio. The CWD, the baiting, and like that's the buzz stuff right now. So that's what everybody's talking about, but it's at a topical level. No one's really digging down deep and having like the harder, in-depth, honest conversations about, you know, what's happening, what are the reasons, how, like, what does the other side think? Like, let's have the conversations as a community to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, Bill Gates is at the bottom of all the negative things. So
he's releasing ticks everywhere, don't you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some conspiracy theories, and there's there's some friends at work who are also conspiracy theorists, and then there's people who are very anti-conspiracy theory. So we get to like make fun of them. It's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
kind of worth it. But I
I
don't
got
know,
some.
man. I've had probably more of these conversations with you than most of any of my friends. I don't know why, but I just remember you're always such a good influence on me in these aspects. I remember just kind of standing in the kitchen with you talking while I was cooking deer. I don't know how many times at the Great American Outdoor Show and having conversations like this. And it's something that I always kind of run back to. But I think in September we should just have a all out elk talk.
We should.
Yeah, because I know how much you love that Western angle.
Dude.
Oh
Little
man.
inside joke there. But
Yeah.
no, dude. Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't know why. I feel like you have a deeper reasoning for your purpose probably. And,
I hope so.
somehow or some reason, like there's some type of connection like that we can communicate on some of this stuff, and it doesn't fall on empty brain cells, I guess. Cause like this is the stuff that I think about freaking day in, day out as I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And there's times where I think like I question my own sanity of like, why do you spend so much time thinking about these things?
Uh-huh.
Like, does it make a difference? Most people don't care. Maybe you should be like other people. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
We talked about it in our last one. If you can make an impact on one person, that person might make an impact on 2, and that person might make an impact on 10. And if you keep the line going, somewhere there might be a kink in the line, but if you keep the line going, it's how you keep it alive,
Yeah.
And this is kind of where like you get into the social media aspect of things, and social media can suck, and sometimes it can be good because of like people are going to find out about this podcast because of social media.
That's right.
Because of Instagram and Facebook and just whatever platform pulls my RSS feed, that kind of thing. So it is kind of an important thing, even though sometimes it sucks. It is kind of important from, because before when we were kids, it was like the Outdoor Channel was how we got our outdoor news. You know what I mean? Or the update in the new hunting laws book or whatever it happens to be. That's kind of how you've learned new stuff. Now it's not like that. So it's kind of something we got to live with in a good way and a bad way sometimes.
That's right. Moderation, man.
Yep. Dude, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you at? Where can they find your new gig at?
New gig. Let me think about it. KikoFirearms.com is a new gig. So that's the website, but they can find me on social, Instagram, Facebook. I don't know what my handles are, man.
I'll add Chad's handles to the links in the show notes, so you can check Chad out.
It's probably just Chad Sylvester. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're all excited to see your elk hunting stories because they're always good.
I hope I got a good one this fall, man. I hope. I'll put the work in to make it happen. We'll see.
Even your bad ones are good.
Oh, they're all good.
Everybody, how many people really like the story about the mountain lion? A couple people reached out to me like, that was so funny. That was amazing.
No. It was amazing to hear if you weren't in my boots, but
or in your britches, but
Yeah. There you go. Well, thanks for having me on, Aaron. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to my episode with Chad. Check out his links in the show notes. If you would, leave this show a rating and a review so it can be listened to wherever you listen to it and other people can listen to it too. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hope you're catching a lot of fish. Hope you're getting a lot of outside time. Hope to talk to you.